And what a good setup for you this morning. What would you do if you were brave? If you knew right now you couldn't fail? You know, actually, our beautiful Science of Mind textbook tells us there is no failure, because spirit never fails. Now, I'll add a little addendum to that. There is no failure. There is ignorance that we can turn to truth. There are mistakes that lead us to learning. We're here to learn. We're here to grow. But we cannot fail. Why? Because there is a one power that we talked about this morning, that we already established, and that power is for good, and that power is always working for us and never against us. I'd like to start this morning, since the topic this morning is one power. There's a beautiful YouTube, a clip of Ernest Holmes when he had a television show in the 50s, and it's very grainy, and they're about 20 minutes long, and I'm only going to show a minute and a half of it. But if you go to YouTube and go Ernest Holmes, Secrets of Belief, you can hear the whole thing, and it's very powerful. He's just an inspirational mystic.
This evening, I am going to talk to you about a power for good in the universe, greater than you are, greater than I am, greater than all of us. A power for good that we can use in everyday life, for everything. When the greatest teacher who ever lived said, "It is done unto you as you believe," what do you suppose he was talking about? This mastermind was talking about a spiritual power in the universe, something so close to us that it is indeed nearer than our hands and feet, closer to us than our very neck vein, as the old Talmud said. And so this power is not something we have to go in search after. It is something that is right here, close, nearer than our very breath.
Just a little sound bite. Didn't you want more? Isn't that beautiful? So we're going to talk today about how to use that power for good. That power for good that is the creative force of all life. Wow, as close as our breath. So take a breath. Oh, do you smell that delicious breakfast? I love that. My stomach responded to that one. But it's as close as our breath, and it's for us to use. And as Ernest Holmes said, it is done to you. It is done unto you as you believe. So the key to all of the creative process in our life is what we believe. So we want to work on our beliefs today, to know that we are really here as we are committed to coming together for a greater good, to continually evolve into a greater connection and knowing and understanding. And I know for each and every one of us that we can use this power in a greater way than we are right now, each and every one of us. We have been given absolute authority because God is love and loves us so much that we've been given free will. We have absolute authority to use this power in any way we want. It is a power for good. But sometimes people use that power in ways that don't look so good, but with the opportunity to change and grow into something more. So we've been given this authority, use this power. And if you imagine right now this power, wow, this creative energy, we might call it undifferentiated potential, we may call it unlimited creativity, whatever you want to call it, is like a blank check for us. And we get to fill it in with any amount that we believe we can. It's all about our belief. And let me tell you, you and I are here, which means we matter. We've been created. We belong. We're here. We're part of a greater whole. We use this divine power not as the wholeness and allness of God, but as a divine spark of an individual expression of God. So we're needed to fill in the parts and the expressions of this greater whole. You and I can use this power for good in our life. So what does your check say? How much have you filled it out? How much are you worth? How much are you using this power to create a life of love, joy, goodness, possibility? What is it for you right now? How much are you using of this power? I want us to know in this moment that my request, my wish, my vision is that we all leave here with our edges a little softer, a little more open to the goodness that's available. The goodness is available all the time, but sometimes we are not. The biggest opposition to this goodness is fear, doubt, unworthiness. You heard in Gretchen's song this morning, if I were brave. Well, I'd say brave means believing in yourself, having total confidence in this power for good that is God, having total confidence. God is love. God is also law. That's the mechanical part that is just works, impersonal, mechanical. It's the part of the creative process that works for us. So total faith in God, belief, understanding, confidence in the law. But that's not going to work if you don't have confidence in yourself, because we're part of this whole package. So we can think today, where in my life do I have the fear of anything that's keeping me back from creating something wonderful in my life? It's fear and doubt that hold us back. This is nothing new. It's nothing new at all. We can read the stories of Jesus in the Bible and what he teaches his disciples. You know, Jesus was, oh my gosh, he had such belief in the power and presence of Spirit of God in his life. And he held the law right here. He just knew it would work for him. Just like the law of gravity, we can take a step and not doubt that gravity is going to hold us down, but we don't have that same faith in this power for good. Jesus did. That's how he could create miracles. And when we had this huge crowd that had gathered for him, he had no idea that thousands of people would be there to listen to him speak. And then it was late and he wanted to feed them, and he only had a few loaves and a few fishes, and he didn't know what to do. No, he knew what to do. The disciples didn't know what to do, and they gave them to Jesus. And Jesus took the 5 loaves and 2 fishes and simply took a breath and gazed at heaven and blessed the fish and the loaves, and he fed everyone. And then, that's a lot of work to feed that many people, you know? It's a lot of work, and they were tired, Jesus and the disciples. So Jesus sent his disciples off in the boat to go get some time alone. He sent them away. And he said, I'll dismiss the crowds. And he dismissed the crowds. And then he went up the mountain to pray and have time alone. And in the morning, the disciples were still in the boat, away out at sea. And Jesus came down, and he walked toward them on the sea. And the disciples, they were afraid. It's a ghost. Who is it? They didn't know. They didn't know. They saw something walking on water. And Jesus said, do not have fear. It is I. It is I. No fear. And Peter, the number 1 disciple at the time, except for Mary, but the number 1 disciple said, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the sea. And Jesus said, come. And Peter stepped off out of the boat, and he walked on the sea until he felt the wind, and he got afraid. And he started to sink. Have you been there? Have you been doing really well at something? And then you're going, I don't know if I can do that well. You don't know. You're doing something that's really miraculous, and you're thinking, woohoo, and then that fear slips in. Come on, you guys. We've all been there. And then we start to sink and drown because we don't really believe in ourselves. And that's what happened to Peter, and he started to sink. And he goes, save me, Lord. And Jesus pulled him up, and you little stinker. Why did you let the doubt in? Why didn't you have more faith? and then you could have done it. And that's the lesson for us. When we have more faith, we can do greater things. So our journey is about softening our edges of judgment, of fear, of unworthiness, of lack. Softening the edges so we can be in the flow of this good that's ever present. The flow that's ever present. The goodness. It starts, we mold this unformed energy, this potential, this undifferentiated potential. We form it with our thoughts, which are created by our beliefs. So I want you to take this idea. A glass blower puts together some limestone, some potash, and some soda, and heats it. And when it's heated, it becomes molten. And in the beginning there, it can make anything. It can make anything. Just as iron, you take iron and you heat it and you get it molten, and you can pour it into any mold. Can create anything. And just as the glass blower knows that when the glass is molten, it can be created into any shape and form. We have that potential right now. Our beliefs and our thoughts are always creating. We have the possibility in every moment to create something new. What the glass blower will tell you is that in order for something new to be created, it may have created this beautiful, whatever it is, a bird or something, and you don't want it anymore. It has to be broken. You can't create something new until you melt it down. The same with the iron. It can be poured into any kind of mold. We have to decide. We have to be clear on what we want. And then when it's poured into the mold, it's going to have to be melted down. So you and I are going to have to melt a little bit into a new expression of our life. Do you agree with me? For something new, we're going to have to melt into something new. And it starts with really being clear on your conviction. What do you want out of life right now? If you're going, well, I don't know. Well, I'm really not sure. Well, I'm not sure. Then that's what you're going to get. A lot of that right back at you. But when you're clear that you want to be something, to know something, to do something, to have something, that's the message you send out. And I know for me, I wake up in the morning and my commitment, my first thing is I want to be a presence of good in this world. I want to really live at that level of creating a world that works for everyone, which means, where do I have to clean up anything I did yesterday? Really, I have to clean that up? Okay. You got to clean up the past if you want to make something clear and new, if you want this clear intention. And what do I need to do and be today? And I received a really beautiful opportunity to be part of that good, to melt the edges, to do something different. About 3 weeks ago, I received a beautiful invitation to be part of a leadership summit here in Southern Orange County. It was a leadership summit for understanding, harmony, and unity. And it included faith leaders, civic leaders, political leaders, business leaders in the community. And it was hosted by the Orange County Islamic Foundation, which is our neighbor just across the way. Now, I'd been to the mosque after 9/11 when the faith leaders gathered together and prayed. We all gathered together and said, this just can't keep happening. What are we going to do? And that went on for a while, and I was quite a part of the interfaith organization then, but slipped away from it. And so it was a beautiful invitation. And what it went down to say is this Orange County Islamic Foundation wanted to invite us together. The imam invited us because he said, we need to speak about violence and terrorism. We do not stand here at our mosque. We denounce any form of violence in the name of the Quran or Islam. We denounce it. We do not believe in it. We stand for peace. We stand for harmony. We stand for compassion. So on Thursday night, I went to the dinner, the meeting and the dinner with Dr. Jim Van Cleve, a board member, and our resident theologian here. It's good to have a theologian by your side when you're with all the different faiths. And it was a beautiful evening. It was absolutely spectacular. We went in and got a tour of the mosque and their prayer room and all of their rooms. And then we went to their school, and their school is part of the Charter for Compassion. And it goes from pre-K to 6th grade. And I'm familiar with a woman who's part of this Charter for Compassion, and every day they start their day asking the students, from the little tiny ones to the bigger ones, how have you been compassionate since yesterday? If it's the weekend, how have you practiced compassion? And then after we went to the school and the tour, we went in and met with, there were Catholics and Jews and Methodists and Episcopals and Mormons and Baha'i and Christian Science and religious science. And we were all there together. And there was a reverend and a pastor and a rabbi that spoke in the beginning, explaining how their communities had gotten together with the mosque and how they'd gone down to Mexico and built homes together, and how they'd gotten together at Thanksgiving. And first of all, they just had their families and their teens and their youth together to have meals together. But then they started making food for the hungry in Orange County. However, they said a lot of fear had to be dealt with first. A lot of fear. A lot of trepidation, because we hear so much. And so they talked, and then we had a little break. We had some good little appetizers there. And then we had a break for prayer. And we could either go in the prayer room and pray, which I chose to go with the women into the prayer room. Dr. Jim chose to stay. They had a choice to stay and just mingle with people there, and he made some wonderful connections. But when I got to the door of the prayer room, I realized I couldn't go in because I didn't have a scarf. And so I just said, I'm going to stay here and I'll hold the prayer here, but I don't have something to cover my head. And one of the women, they don't have just a cupboard with random scarves to give out people. She said, I'm going to find you one. She got me a beautiful scarf to put on. And they said their Arabic prayer first in English. And I wish I'd written it down. I was just in the joy of being together with these wonderful women. And I heard, God is great, God is great, God is good. And holding success for ourselves and success for others. Those are the words I got of it. We got up and down 3 times and prayed. And it was such a beautiful experience. And then we went back in and had a beautiful meal. And the Imam Yasir, got up and he said, I want you to know right now, and he's a funny guy. He said, he was cracking some jokes and he was funny, but he said, we do not support anything but compassion. We denounce violence and terrorism. And he was very emphatic about it and said, I am here to answer any question any one of you have. And I will answer authentically and honestly. And he did. And it was absolutely a beautiful evening. And it took stretching and growing. It took softening at the edges to come together and to know that it's happening right here, a block away. And I'll tell you who we're going to get together first. Dr. Jim and I have been talking and working with one of the, I'm not sure what they're called there, but one of the leaders there. We're going to get our teens together first, because you know who wants to break down the walls more than anything? It's our teenagers. We've got them on board. They want to start and go. And the Imam's very willing to come and have a circle here and talk with people. And we've got to be on that cutting edge of what's happening and helping to heal the world. We're just a piece of the puzzle. We're just a piece of what's going on here. I want to read a quote, and it's a very simple quote, but when we plant a seed or a garden, we use ultimate faith in the possibility of life. When a baby is born, we see amazing miracles happening. We have ultimate faith. We need to expand our faith in the spiritual, creative process of life, to understand the creative process. And someone sent this to me. I just thought it was a beautiful way to understand. Life can seem like it's so terrible in our own personal lives and the life of our world sometimes, but there is something happening, and I want to be part of the good that's happening. For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, imagine you guys are the seeds, all of us, okay? For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone. The shell needs to crack, its insides come out, and then everything changes. Have you been there? To someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like complete destruction. Of course, for that seed to grow, it needs the right nutrients, the right soil, the right water. For us, the right thoughts and beliefs and actions for us to do the good we know is possible. Mario, he told me he'd be there listening. Is he here? Oh, there you are. I forgot to put you where I said I was going to put you, and I just remembered. Come on up. So I told you it's the teens that are going to make the change here, and I want to show you what they've done in their own lives. So do you want to say a word about this? If you do, I need to give you the microphone. Oh, I'll hand it to you. May I be your servant here?
We have a short, I'm just going to say this.
Oh, say whatever.
We have a short video clip, and I'm only going to show part of it. So Griffin, if you can put that up now, and then I'll say it.
Centers for Spiritual Living Teen Camp can be summed up in 2 words: empowerment and community. Growth and understanding.
Acceptance and love.
Friendships forever.
Soul family.
Life-changing.
Spiritual awakening.
Compassion and connection.
Love myself.
Awesome.
Transformation and oneness.
Love and unity. The biggest way that my life has changed since I've started coming to camp is the confidence that I found in myself to really speak up when I need to, and to be more loving in all of my interactions.
The gift that I've received because of attending camp has been learning the ability to express who I truly am as a person.
I've gained so much confidence from summer camp, and I'm able to speak to my peers on a whole different level and able to raise the consciousness of everyone around me.
When I'm at school or at work or even just at my center, I feel like I can really find that deeper connection with everyone around me. Whether it's just someone that I'm seeing for the first time or someone that I've known for years, I'm able to really just find that deep point of namaste within them.
As a newcomer to camp, my experience was awesome. It was just a lot of acceptance, and I felt free to be myself and, be who I am, my authentic self.
Because of the tools that I returned from camp with, I can now make healthier decisions in my life. One of the benefits of camp is the deep connections and long-lasting relationships that I build with other campers.
Thank you. So, I don't know if you noticed the backdrop for it was right here. So, great setting. That was the teen leadership for the international movement of the Science and Mind Centers. The only thing I can say is that the reason that I'm showing this and being a part of this is that the connection that they have with each other is really important. The mentors that they have, like myself and the other adults in the movement, are also important, but more importantly is to have that connection where they can come, where they feel supported by their peers, and from there, these leaders come out and are empowered, feel empowered to do these amazing things, these great things, and then go on. I mean, Camille was in there, our team, and she's now at UCLA. I mean, she was 12 when she started, not knowing what direction to go in. And anyway, it helps focus. They're focused. The workshop planning that we did here just amazed me and made me think about the future generation really is in great hands as long as we have these guys leading us. So, in closing, that connection that they get at camp, school, everything that happens in school is forgotten about. They go there, it's fresh, there's love everywhere, there's acceptance everywhere, regardless of gender identity, of sexual orientation, all of that. They especially love the inclusiveness, not excluding anyone. And I'm going to plug the breakfast this morning. We have bagels, we have pancakes. You may have. I need to apologize for the bacon. The bacon wasn't cooked, so we cooked it this morning.
Oh yeah, that was a ploy.
It really wasn't planned. But anyway, so I want to thank you in advance for the support. The congregation is just so giving and generous, and I thank you.
Thank you, Mario. Let's give Mario has been doing this work for 12 years. 12 years. All right, stay standing. Stay standing. Don't sit down yet. We're just going to close up right now because just exactly what we see with the teens, their love and acceptance. That's who we want to be. So just repeat after me. There's a power for good in the universe. Greater than we are, that we can use consciously, right now, for good. I claim it. I know it. I am it. I live it. And so it is. Beautiful. Give yourselves a hand for being part of the change that's happening right now. Thank you.